You see those panels back there? It's happening.
The legendary goat barn container is our daughter Adelai's dream of rehabbing a shipping container into kidding stalls, feed storage, and a milking room. We've spent the last several months renovating the inside, adding secure field fencing, repainting the outside, building the awning structure, and now it's time to finish the roof and fill it with solar panels. Okay, finally, we have the metal roofing panels. We're gonna get this roof finished. So we've reached the point in the roof where the solar panels are going to have their wires coming down through. We still have those 2 solar panels on the top of the container, and we still need to use those. So I'd already drilled a hole in the OSB, but now we put the metal panels on top. I wanted to make sure that we weren't hitting a rib. Anyway, I'm going to drill a hole up through the metal panel, pull the wires back down, we'll keep going, and then later we're going to have more different wires from the other solar panel array. We're going to all run into it. I got a special way to seal it up and make sure it doesn't leak. We'll get to that later.
That was easier than I thought. Whoops.
Now, this is made a very sharp edge, so I'm going to put a rubber grommet on this to protect the wires when they go down through. Takes a minute.
It's too small.
I gotta squeeze this through this little grommet. We gotta put the other panel up. I'll put this up.
I'm pretty sure that we've mentioned before how much we hate roofing. So I'm taking a break and I'm going to plant some plants. Come along. I grabbed these 2, they're called Star Jasmine and they're a vining plant. So later on I'm going to build something here for them to climb up. But for now I'm just getting them in the soil.
I'd like the beginning Lilo and Stitch songs.
Oh man, we had a long day yesterday putting the metal roofing on here, but we got it done except for one last trim piece. We'll get to that later. But before we do that, it's time to add solar panels. So the plan has always been for the goat barn to put more than 2 little solar panels on top of the roof. We built an off-grid system. There's a 5 kilowatt hour battery in there with a 3,000 watt inverter, a big solar charge controller that's made for way more than 2 panels. So we're going to be putting 12 panels up on this roof. Got 6 in series, another 6 in series. They're going to come down to the combiner box. We're using our friends IronRdige to do the racking system. Not a ground mount this time. It is mounting to the roof. So got all kinds of hardware and specs and stuff that we're going to get into. But the first part is we got to get our mounts in the right spot. We got to get it sort of evened up so when you look at this, it looks decent. It's not like way up high or way down low or way off to the side. Yeah, we want to get it centered, make sure we hit as many studs as we can, and then it should be easy. No problem. Just throw the solar panels up. You know, it's been really handy for this roof install, having a secondary roof to put things on.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it makes it much easier and less cluttered and dangerous.
I was talking about your butt.
So the first way we'll lay it out is based on my measurements, and we'll see if it works. We need to find the 3rd rafter and start there. Jet, you want to grab a few of those? Okay, so what we're going to be doing is using these. They're called a S5 solar foot, and it's got this like butyl sticky stuff, and then it's got 4 screws. Now, I'm a little confused by these because even if I turned it like this, it's too wide to hit a stud. It would go on either side of the stud that way. If you turn it this way, then you're only gonna get into a stud or a rafter on one side. I don't know. So we're gonna do our best, hit as many studs as we can, or the rafters on this side, because this is the way that the wind blows. The rest of it's just gonna go in the decking. There are gonna be 40 of these holding these panels down. Each have 4 holes. That's 160 screws. Either way, I think we'll be fine. And also, we couldn't center it perfectly in the roof just because we're trying to hit rafters. Anyway, it's complicated. There's gonna be a little more space here than there is over there. We're okay with that. So then the next step is gonna be, we gotta lay out the other 40 of these and get them at the right height so that we also center this array up and down on the roof, if that makes sense. So we'll do a bunch of measurements, we'll mark it, and then we'll start screwing stuff in. Alright, so we're going to go down 15 inches. That's 40 plus 16.
66.
I
What?
can't do it in my head.
What was it?
What is 56 plus 25?
The answer is 81.
It is 81.
50 for the second one, 66 for the third one, and 98 for
These
the
are the
last one.
centers.
Those are the centers. Okay, find that mark again, except to the top of it. Okay, Jet, same thing. Find that mark, put it down that way just a little bit.
Danger, danger, danger. Why are you on the tank?
It's the most reasonable position to video.
It's dangerous, Ida. Just dropping everything. It's a little awkward.
Yeah, they're a little long, huh?
You're a little long. Can you go on this side? Got it?
Yep.
I'm just gonna toss it up.
Cool. I'd like to see you do that. Javelin.
Javelin.
Just pole vault it up there.
Alright, the brackets are in place. It's time to attach the rails and put them where we want them on the roof. Thought we were gonna have all the panels up.
No. maybe 1 row.
Okay.
Maybe.
We have our first row up. The way that this thing is configured, we've got two 17-inch of these XR1000 rails. We actually have to bond and splice them together. Anyway, yeah, so this is real easy. It doesn't require any tools. It's just got this little clip here, so I'm gonna push it into this one. Just like that. And then Jax, can you go grab that end? And then, wait a minute. All right, come this way, push it. Ah, lift it up a little. There we go. That's it. Now I got one really big rail. Okay, so you take your end, I'll take my end, and we're gonna try to center it. Now we're attaching the rails to our feet here. It's all still loose because we wanna make sure it all works, but basically there are these tracks that are built into this here. So this piece is going to go in, and then it's going to turn and lock into place, and then you tighten this. You don't do it there though, sorry. You do it here. So Jax, help me again. There. Now, so it turned and it locked into that track, and then I'm just going to do a quick tighten there, and we're going to come back with the right torque wrench later. We're just trying to get it, because this whole thing is lifted up just a little, so I'm just trying to get it held into place as we go down. Alright friends, we got the first row of 6 panels up yesterday. I hooked them up this morning. We're pumping out about 12 to 1500 watts, which is nice. We've got a whole other row to do. So we're just gonna get to it. There's not a lot of us here, but this should be pretty easy. So let's get it done. I've got the two panels that were up here. I had to pry them off of the top of the container here. I used VHB tape to stick them up there, and some brackets that were mounted to the actual panels. And they were stuck. I mean, they've been up there through 50, 60 mile an hour winds and they haven't moved. Pretty impressed with the VHB tape for sure. Obviously, not a great permanent solution. That's why we're doing this huge bolted down IronRdige ragging system. But yeah, so I took those two off. I went ahead and stuck them on there. And now I'm just waiting for a little help because I don't know if you can see it, but the rest of the panels are all the way down there. And I can't get them up here without at least 1 or 2 other people. So waiting on some kids to come help me. We'll slide them in. And this time I'm going to wire them up as I go. And yeah, and then we'll be done with the solar. Alright friends, we are back out to finish wiring up this array. So I don't know if I explained this, but there are 2 rows of 6 panels, and we're connecting each set of 6 panels in series, which means that you basically start at the first one, and you can either start with the positive or the negative. Let's say you start with the positive. You go from the positive of that panel to the negative of the second one, and you take the positive of the second one, you go to the negative of the third one, you go all the way down the line. And so you still have a negative at the beginning. You have to create a wire that runs all the way down, and then at the end you create another small wire, and then you run that into the combiner box. And so my combiner box has 4 spots. We're only using 2 because we have one row of 6 and another row of 6. Anyway, that jacks up your voltage, keeps your amps low so you don't need crazy thick wires. So I actually already ran my long wire yesterday so I could know where it needed to go, and I'm going into these little waterproof junction boxes. This one isn't screwed down yet, but we got the first one. So I got to run this last cable down through the little box and sort of complete that circuit, right? And then we'll plug it into the combiner box. First, we'll shut everything off. Then we'll plug it in, then we'll turn it all back on, and we should be getting double the wattage that we were getting. So let's get started. All right, so like I said, this last row of 6, they've already been connected together. I just have this one cable left. I got to make up an MC4 connection, run it down through the roof. You ever used one of these before? MC4 tool? So basically, you just use the tabs on this to allow you to separate the 2 connections. So I have to do this connection based on how it's looking right now, which means I need the little metal piece. So hold on, I don't have enough hands. So MC4s are kind of confusing. The connector with the big hole actually uses the small pin inside of it, and then the other one uses the bigger pin. So this is a small one, it's kind of hard to see, and then there's one this has got a bigger diameter. So I got to crimp this on and then just snap it together. Alright, so I have both my wires. I'm going to go shut off all of the solar input real quick inside and in the combiner box. We'll plug it in, make sure we're good, and then we'll flip it back on. Alright, so a little dark in here. So this morning, it's pretty early. With the 1-string connector right now, we're getting 507 watts. But I'm going to shut this off real quick. That's my solar breaker. So now that's gone down to 0. Side here, I'll also flip this breaker. And then it's time to plug it in. Alright. Flip it back on. Hammer Paw's still hanging out in here with her adorable kittens. They just started opening their eyes. They're so cute. Hi. Hi. Alright. Breaker has been flipped back on. Let's see what happens. There we go. Double the solar. That's very exciting. Yes. So I'm going to clean up a few things, get some wire ties and clips, and kind of make sure this looks nice. Get that last port on top screwed down. And then we're going to come back and do grounding another day. Just know that you are supposed to ground this railing system to your ground rod or your earth ground. We will be doing that later because there's some other things we need to ground. But yeah, this is really good. Of course, you gotta finish it off with the caps. Now, I mean, do you really need caps? Probably not. But, number one, it will keep animals and bugs out. Number two, it'll keep water out. Number three, if you're up here walking around, it might keep you from banging your foot or your shin on it too, because it's definitely pretty sharp. Also, it does look nice. Those two panels were the ones that were sitting up here. They definitely need a little bit of cleaning. Maybe I'll have Adelaide do that. Now, besides the gutter on this roof, the only thing we really have left to do is we have a custom trim piece. So you can probably see right here, we have the container and then we have the roof. And so we have this little flat area. We're gonna glue or VHB tape this here and then caulk it on that side, and it's gonna just have a slight bend in it, and it comes down and it'll screw into the top of these ribs. So that'll be the last step. That'll make sure we don't have water kind of like pouring down at this seam here. Obviously we don't want that to happen. Why would we put a roof up if it's just gonna leak? But yeah, this was definitely one of the most tricky parts, is trying to figure out how to seal this, because this roof eventually, there will probably be one more container and we will have a gabled roof that goes over both of these. So we don't want this to get in the way of it. Also, we are going to paint the top of this with white elastomeric. We'll get to that soon. But for now, let's just celebrate the win of massive amounts of solar power coursing through this little off-grid system. It's very exciting. And with that, friends, we're nearly at the end of our journey with the legendary Goat Barn container. As you can see from these clips, we are well on our way to finishing this project, and this is the last update we'll be sharing before the full build video. That's coming very soon, and we can't wait to show you all the final details. But we just wanted to say thanks again to all of you who supported this project. Because of you, we've been able to build a safe, secure shelter for our goats, see Adelaide's dream realized, and learn so much along the way. We'll see you soon.